Hello and welcome again to Sifiso Tola Media. This is Panyaza Lesufi explaining why there's a delay in announcing his cabinet. Please, let's take a listen at his explanation.
Our negotiators at our province also requested extra time because they felt that there were 2 or 3 things that happened that need to be clarified, but most importantly, that we needed to meaningfully engage those that have just joined government of national unity, that are part of our provincial government, whether their interests should be accommodated. And I was quite convinced that it's a reasonable request, and therefore we then postponed the briefing. But we are impatient to ensure that we conclude this work as speedily as possible. We can't have government not functioning beyond Wednesday. I really believe that we should find something before Wednesday and conclude this matter.
Yeah, before Wednesday. I want to give you an opportunity to also clarify what has been in the public domain. There are people that have been suggesting that you wanted to announce a cabinet that includes all ANC cabinet, or where the ANC takes all 7 portfolios in Gauteng and only gives the DA 3. Was that the plan by your administration?
Surely not. And these are people that are not taking part of the discussion. There have been disinformation and fake news that have been deliberately planted. And I hear, sorry, your interest, well, Madam Major. When you enter this kind of negotiations, there are people that are not honest, and they selectively leak information to their favorite journalist and present information in a manner that it paints a partner bad. And therefore, on that narrative, a certain political party is seen as either arrogant, or a certain political party is seen as rigid, that they have not accepted, that they've lost, and other things, which is not true. I mean, the mere fact that we speak about government of national unity, it means we've accepted that we've not all. What we need to do is that we must smile together, not because we don't want to work together. We must smile together because we've overcome challenges. And that's where we are. We've overcome challenges. There's no war. There's no dispute about the results saved by 1 or 2 other political parties, but generally wants to bring everyone in the interest of the country. But you don't do that when you say you want to put everything in the interest of the country, but when you go to the negotiations, it's no longer the interest of the country, it's the interest of a certain political party. If you have that attitude, we're not going to win. But also, we might have a government of national unity. It does not mean those that don't agree with government of national unity, their interests must be overlooked. They also represent certain voters. Even in the government of national unity, you must spare a thought for those that are outside, because if you don't, the government or parliament will be disruptive because their interests are not taken into consideration. So it's not about the party that is at the table only, but it's the parties that are all represented in that particular parliament. And that is why our approach at the ANC is that when you bring more parties on the table, you eliminate confusion, you also eliminate disruption. But even if a party that has 1 seat, to insult that party that is a straw mate, that cheerleaders and other thing, is very unfortunate, because I'm told, Madam Major, that a razor blade is sharp, but it can't cut a tree. The axe is strong, but it can't cut the hair. Everyone is important according to his own unique purpose. Never look down on anyone unless you're admiring their shoes. That's what I'm told, and that's what I've been told, and that's my attitude when I interact with various political parties. But if you come to the kitchen and say, yes, I've appointed you as a chef, but give me the right, and the only right first, to determine the content of the food that we're going to cook, and I must just be a spectator. It does not work that way. We're in this together. Collectively, if you say we put the interest of the country first, let's do that. Put the interest of the country all the way.
Yeah.
Don't put the interest of the country at selective stages and have selective interest at various points. We are open whether we get 2 positions as the ANC in our province, as MCs, or 3 positions, as long as we're going to work as a team.
Okay.
And I, as a leader of this particular team, I must be fair to everyone, and I must treat them equally and ensure that the province prosper. That's our attitude.
Yeah, so let me ask about what the DA's position has been. I mean, as the ANC, you got 34.76% in the province, the DA 27.44%. You've got 28 seats, they have about 22 seats. There's a difference of about 7% in your support in terms of percentages in the province. So they think that when you allocate those cabinet posts, that's got to be proportional to the support they have and the seats they represent in the provincial government. Are you comfortable with that as the ANC in Gauteng? Because that would mean the DA is not only going to just receive about 3 MMC positions.
Well, that was left to negotiators. Let the negotiators finalize that permutations. What I'm obsessed, Madam Major, is to have a government that is stable, a government that is not going to fall in the trap of the hallmark of coalition governments that we had in the province, where at local government, where you had motions of no confidence every week, where you've got reshuffling of cabinet every week, where we have walkouts in the legislature literally every week, where you spend more time consulting parties rather than rendering services. Those are the issues that we must resolve first. How will we operate? How will we work as a team? How will we resolve our differences before you even go to allocation of seats? Because if you rush to allocation of seats, people will use their seat numbers to bulldoze decisions. And you start to do that, you alienate other people. You start to do that, you don't have a government of a provincial unity, you have a government of seat unity, because it's according to your seats. Because even one person that has one seat does not mean that person's idea or relevance is not important because they've got one seat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to be obsessed, therefore, that give me 4 seats, it means that you want to use the number of your seats to determine the cost, which is wrong. You must use the number of your seats to strengthen the team, which is very important. And that's our approach. So if they want 3 or they want 4, we are not obsessed with that. We will give them. We have accepted that we've lost elections, but they've also accepted that we're a leader of society on the basis that we received the highest votes. But we're not going to use that to bully anyone, or we're not going to use that to be arrogant. We're not going to use that to be rigid. But you don't negotiate with somebody that says X today, you agree with that person on X. Then tomorrow, you go to Cape Town and come back with Y. You say, hey, for the interest of unity, let's agree to Y. And then you have moved from X to Y. Then after you've agreed to Y, he comes back with Z.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and then leak information to the media because he knows the media is anti-ANC. The media will receive easily when you say the ANC is arrogant. The media will receive. When those that you are leaking the information to are neither in the discussion or they don't have a full piece of the discussion because you've got close relationship with Syria, with certain social media pages or people that are hiding within social media handles, you can just deposit and insult people on the basis that you know automatically those people will be on the back. That's what we've seen, and that's what we want to discourage. And that's our approach is simple, Madam Major. No party won, no party lost. South African voters won, and South African voters are saying work together, not work according to your egos, work according to the interest of our country and the interest of our province. And I want to assure the citizens of Gauteng, that's the narrative one is utilizing to lead this province, so that hospitals can get medication, criminals can know their days are over. Our CBDs, your Johannesburg CBDs, your Springs, your Roodepoort can be improved to be better CBDs, and that we can grow the economy of our province. That's our attitude. And we use the seats to say what are our differences and build a strong mechanism to resolve our differences and to resolve our deadlock. Because if you don't have a strong mechanism to say, let's have independent people, wherever we differ, we can call them to come and say, we're differing, guide us, they guide us. So if you don't have those things, you rush to say, give me 2 seats, 3 seats. Madam Major, I can tell you, we'll have problems.
Do you have appetite, though, to, because you said earlier you must spare thought for those that are outside the GNU. Do you have appetite to include some of them in the cabinet that are not in the GNU, or your first priority as the negotiations go is to prioritize the people that are within the parties within the GNU to be part of the executive?
We'll never run ahead the national leadership. We're part of the African National Congress, and the African National Congress is the one that is inviting parties. So those parties that have invited, that they have accepted, we will work with them at the province. Those that are not accepting to be part of GNU, we will represent their voice. Even if they are outside, we will represent their voice. We know what they stand for, and we know what they need. You can't say because they're not part of GNU, and that's the mistake the political parties that we're negotiating with are making. They all say we've not won election, but they want to exclude the voices of those that have won seats purely because they're not part of GNU. That's a biggest mistake. They might not be part of the GNU, but their voices must be heard. They might not be part of GNU, they are represented in parliament. And to have a smooth parliament, what they believe in minimally, if they believe in anti-racialism, if they believe in transformation, if they believe in representativity, if they believe in the rights of women and people with disability, it does not mean because they're not part of GNU, therefore those particular beliefs must be excluded. Because you are at the center and therefore you need everything. It does not work that way. We must be polite, we must be transparent, we must be accommodative, and we must not insult other people. And we must not be manipulative, where you manipulate information to get public support purely because you've got friends in the media or in social media. That's wrong.